6 days of begging, 6 days of silence. Counselor Myra pressed her 4 trembling hands against the communication console and spoke into the microphone again. Her voice had grown hoarse from repeating the same words over and over. "This is Tessara calling any galactic assembly vessel. We are under attack. The harvesters have entered our system. Please respond, please." Nothing, static, empty air. Behind her, the communication room had filled with other Relani officials. Their tall, slender bodies crowded together, their large, dark eyes watching her with desperate hope. She had none left to give them. The Relani were farmers. For 10,000 years, they had grown food on their peaceful world and traded it across the galaxy. They had no weapons. They had no soldiers. When the Galactic Assembly invited them to join, they were promised protection. Member species protected each other. That was the agreement. That was the lie. "Counselor," said her assistant, a young male named Pell. "The Harvester fleet has moved into low orbit. They will begin landing within 3 hours." Myra closed her eyes. She had seen recordings of what the Harvesters did to worlds they visited. They took everything: resources, technology, people. The populations they captured were never seen again. Some said they were sold as slaves. Some said worse things. "How many ships?" she asked. 42 combat vessels, 8 carrier ships for ground troops." "And how many of our people are in the shelters?" 60% of the population, the rest." Pell could not finish. "The rest would not make it. The outer settlements were too far from the underground shelters. Those people would be taken first." A child's crying echoed from somewhere down the corridor. Families had gathered in every building near the communication center, hoping that when rescue came, they would be close to safety. Parents held their children and whispered comfortable lies. "Help is coming. Everything will be fine." Myra had told those same lies at the start. She no longer had the strength. "I will make one final broadcast," she said. "Not a distress call, a farewell. The galaxy should know what happened here. They should know that we asked for help and received none." She adjusted the transmitter to maximum power. This message would reach far beyond assembly space. It would travel into the unknown regions where new species sometimes listened. It did not matter. No one would arrive in time. "This is Counselor Myra of Tessara," she began. "To anyone receiving this message, we are about to die. The Harvesters came for us and the Galactic Assembly abandoned us. We were peaceful. We only wanted to grow our crops and live our lives. We did nothing to deserve this. Remember us. Remember what happens when good people have no one to protect them. This is our final." A burst of static cut through her words. Then a voice, clear, calm, speaking in a language her translator converted instantly. "Tessara Station, this is Colonel Diana Reed of the Earth Expeditionary Force. Hold your position. We are inbound. Estimated arrival 11 hours. Myra froze. The room went completely silent. Earth, she knew that name. A new species discovered only 30 years ago. They came from a deathworld, a planet so dangerous that surviving there was considered almost impossible. The Assembly had been cautious about them. Humans, they were called. Too aggressive, some council members said. Too violent for full membership. "Earth vessel," Myra responded, her voice shaking. "We are grateful for your response, but 11 hours is too long. The Harvesters will land in 3. A pause. When the human spoke again, her voice had not changed. Still calm, still professional. "Understood. Can your people reach shelter?" "Most are already underground." "Good. Tell them to stay there. Tell them to hold on. We are coming." "But you cannot arrive in time to stop the landing." "No," Colonel Reed agreed. "But we will arrive in time for everything else. Tessara Station, I need you to do something for me." "Anything." "Keep this channel open. Keep talking to me. I want to know everything that happens on your world for the next 11 hours. I want to know where they land, how many troops they deploy, where they send their forces. Can you do that?" Myra looked at Pell. He nodded and began adjusting sensors and monitoring equipment. "Yes," Myra said. "Yes, I can do that." "Good. One more thing, Counselor." What? The harvesters think they are about to take your world. They think there will be no consequences. They think no one is coming. The human paused. They are wrong. Hold on. Help is coming. The channel remained open. Myra could hear distant sounds from the human ship, voices giving orders, equipment being moved, preparations being made. She did not know what humans were capable of. She did not know if one ship could make any difference against 42. She did not know if hope was reasonable or foolish. But for the first time in 6 days, she felt something other than despair. Outside, through the tall windows of the communication center, she could see the sky beginning to darken. The harvester ships were descending through the clouds, blocking out the sun. They looked like monsters from old nightmares. Somewhere out there, coming as fast as physics allowed, humans were racing toward them. Myra returned to the microphone. Colonel Reed, the first harvester ships have entered the atmosphere. They are heading toward the northern settlements. Copy that, Tessara. Keep reporting. We are listening. And so Myra began to narrate the death of her world, hoping against hope that the strange, aggressive species from a death world would somehow turn death into something else. 11 hours, an eternity. She would count every second. Deep in fold space, where reality bent and twisted, the carrier ship Steadfast pushed its engines beyond safe limits. In the drop bay, 200 soldiers checked their equipment for the 3rd time. They wore heavy combat armor painted in dark gray. Each of them carried enough weapons to fight a small war alone. Sergeant First Class Omar Hassan walked between the rows of drop pods. He was 41 years old with a face that looked older. 20 years of combat had left marks on him that no amount of rest could erase. "Listen up," he called out. "Command briefing in 5 minutes. Colonel Reed is coming down personally." Private First Class Anna Kowalski looked up from her weapon. She was 23, and this was her first real deployment. Everything before had been training or peacekeeping missions on human colonies. Nothing like this. "Sarge," she said quietly, "is it true we are going in without backup?" "It is true," Hassan confirmed. "Against how many enemy ships?" 42. Kowalski went pale, "And we have 1 ship." "Correct." "That is insane." Corporal Diego Reyes, the squad medic, stepped closer. He had a gentle face that seemed wrong on a soldier. "It is not insane, rookie. It is Tuesday." Private Yuki Tanaka said nothing. She rarely did. She simply continued checking her heavy weapons array, a collection of destructive tools that weighed more than Kowalski herself. The bay doors opened and Colonel Diana Reed walked in. She was a tall woman in her 50s with short gray hair and eyes that had seen too much death. Behind her walked Captain Lucas Ward, commander of the Steadfast. "Attention on deck," Hassan barked. 200 soldiers snapped to attention. Reed waved them down. "At ease, gather around, I will keep this short." The soldiers formed a loose circle. Reed activated a holographic display showing a planet covered in green farmland and blue oceans. "This is Tessara, population 4 billion, species called Rilani, peaceful farmers who have never held a weapon in their history. 12 hours ago, a harvester fleet entered their system. You all know what harvesters do." Dark murmurs passed through the crowd. Everyone knew. The Rilani called for help. They are members of the Galactic Assembly. They paid their dues. They followed the rules. They expected protection. Reed paused. "No one came. No one except us." Captain Ward spoke up. "Earth Command has authorized this as a humanitarian intervention. We are operating outside Assembly jurisdiction. If this goes wrong, the politicians will deny everything." "In other words," Reed said, "no backup, no rescue, no second chances. We win or we die. Any questions?" Hassan raised his hand. "Colonel, why are we doing this? These are not our people. This is not our fight." Reed looked at him with something that might have been respect. "Sergeant, you are right. We have no treaty with Tessara. We have no obligation. We could turn around right now and no one would blame us." She paused. "But someone has to do something. The Assembly will not. Other species will not. So we will. Because if we do not stand for those who cannot stand for themselves, what are we? Silence filled the bay. Then Tanaka spoke. It was so rare that everyone turned to look at her. "Good enough for me," she said, and went back to her weapons. Reed almost smiled. "Final briefing data is being uploaded to your helmets now. We exit fold space in 6 hours. Combat drop begins immediately after. Primary objective is protection of civilian population centers. Secondary objective is elimination of Harvester command structure. Rules of engagement are simple. Anything that threatens civilians dies." She looked across the faces of her soldiers. Young and old, scared and steady, all of them volunteers, all of them about to drop into hell. "The R'hllani have never seen humans fight," Reed said. "They have heard rumors that we are too violent, too aggressive, too dangerous. Today we are going to show them what human violence looks like when it is pointed at the right target. Today we are going to show the galaxy what happens when you hurt innocent people and humans find out about it." She straightened her spine. 47th Drop Infantry. Grave diggers, get to your pods, we drop in 6 hours. The soldiers moved with practiced efficiency. Each climbed into a metal coffin barely large enough to hold a human body. These pods would fall from orbit like meteors, punching through atmosphere at speeds that would kill any other species. Kowalski strapped herself in. Her hands were shaking. Hassan appeared at her pod, scared. "Yes." "Good scared soldiers pay attention. Overconfident soldiers die." He tapped her helmet. "Stay close to me when we land, do what I do, shoot what I shoot. You will be fine." "How do you know?" "Because I have seen 100 rookies on their first drop. The ones who listen to their sergeants survive. The ones who panic die. Which one are you going to be?" Kowalski took a deep breath. "The one who listens." "Good answer. See you on the ground, Private." The pod doors sealed. Darkness surrounded her. In 6 hours, she would fall from the sky into a war. She would kill or be killed. She would save strangers or die trying. Her hands stopped shaking. She was ready. Fire fell from heaven. Counselor Myra stood at the window and watched the sky burn with falling stars. Hundreds of them. Thousands. They screamed through the atmosphere, leaving trails of flame and smoke. For one terrible moment, she thought the harvesters were bombing them. Then her communication console crackled. "Tessara Station, this is Colonel Reed. Our forces are deploying now. Get everyone underground and stay there. Things are about to get loud." The falling stars were not bombs, they were humans. On the ground near the northern settlement of Green Valley, the Brack soldiers had almost finished loading their prisoners. The reptilian warriors worked efficiently, forcing R'hllani families into transport ships with electric prods and harsh commands. The Brack did not choose to serve the harvesters. They had been conquered generations ago. Now they were the shock troops, the front line, the expendable muscle. They wore heavy armor and carried plasma rifles. They feared their harvester masters more than they feared anything else. Until the sky started screaming. A Brack commander looked up just as the first drop pod slammed into the ground 50 meters away. The impact shook the earth. Before the dust could settle, the pod exploded open and a human emerged firing. Hassan moved like water and struck like lightning. His rifle cracked 3 times. 3 Brack fell before any of them could react. More pods hit the ground. More humans emerged. The air filled with the sound of gunfire. The Brack fought back. They outnumbered the humans badly and their weapons were powerful. Plasma bolts sizzled through the air. One human fell, then another. But the humans did not stop. They did not hesitate. They pushed forward through the fire, closing distance, turning a ranged fight into something brutal and close. Kowalski's pod landed hard. Her restraints released and she kicked the door open. Smoke and chaos surrounded her. She saw Brack soldiers turning toward her, raising weapons. Her body moved before her mind caught up. She rolled left as plasma scorched the air where she had been. Her rifle came up. She fired twice. A Brack dropped. No time to think, no time to be afraid, only time to fight. She found Hassan in the chaos. He was directing fire, calling out targets, moving the squad like pieces on a board. Reyes had already reached a wounded soldier and was dragging her to cover. Tanaka had set up her heavy weapon and was laying down suppressing fire that forced entire groups of Brak to take cover. Kowalski, Hassan shouted, "The transport ships, the prisoners." She looked and saw R'hllani huddled together in open cargo bays. Terrified eyes stared out at the violence they had never imagined. Kowalski ran. A Brak stepped into her path. She did not slow down. Her rifle butt cracked against his helmet. He staggered. She shot him twice in the chest and kept moving. She reached the first transport ship and climbed inside. A dozen R'hllani pressed against the walls, shaking. "It is okay," she said. Her translator turned her words into their language. "You are safe. We are here to help." A female R'hllani looked at her with huge, wet eyes. "What are you?" "Human from Earth." "You are killing them." "Yes." "Why?" Kowalski did not have time to explain. "Stay here, stay down, this will be over soon." She jumped back out and rejoined the fight. The Brak were breaking. Some retreated toward their landing craft. Others threw down weapons and surrendered. Humans took prisoners when possible, killed when necessary. It was over in 8 minutes. Hassan walked through the aftermath. Bodies lay everywhere. Smoke rose from burning vehicles, but the R'hllani prisoners were alive, all of them. He approached a group that had gathered near the transport ships. They stared at him with a mixture of emotions he could not read. Fear, certainly, but also something else. "You are safe now," he said gently. "The enemy is gone. Is anyone hurt?" An elderly male stepped forward. His forearms hung at his sides. "You came." "Yes." "No one else came. We called for help. No one answered." "We answered." Tears ran down the old man's face. "Why? We are not your people. We are nothing to you." Hassan thought about the question. It was the same one he had asked Colonel Reed. He still did not have a perfect answer, but he had an honest one. "Because you needed help, because we could help, that is enough." The old man fell to his knees, not in fear. In gratitude, others followed. Dozens of R'hllani kneeling before the blood-covered soldiers who had fallen from the sky to save them. Kowalski felt uncomfortable. This was not why she fought. She did not want worship. A small child broke away from the crowd and walked toward her. The child reached out and touched her armored hand, curious rather than afraid. "Friend," the child said in broken human language. Someone had taught them that word, or perhaps they had just learned it. Kowalski knelt to the child's level. "Friend," she agreed. Above them, the sky was still full of falling pods. The battle for Green Valley was won, but the battle for Tessera had just begun. Somewhere in the distance, more gunfire echoed. Hassan touched his communication device. "Command, this is Hassan. Green Valley is secure, moving to next objective. Send coordinates." "Copy that, Sergeant. Good work, stay alive." He looked at his squad, tired, bloody, ready. "Let us go save some more people," he said. They moved out. Reed stared at the tactical display. Every sector was red, every position was failing. They had fought for 18 hours straight. They had killed thousands of Brak. They had saved millions of R'hllani, but they could not hold much longer. She opened a channel to the Steadfast. "Captain Ward's status report." "Still alive, Colonel, barely. I have lost 3 engine pods and my shields are at 12%. The Harvester fleet is closing in. I need you to execute Option Omega." Silence on the channel. "Colonel, that is a suicide run." "I know what it is. If I take the Steadfast into the command ship, there is no coming back. Not for me, not for my crew." "I know," Reed's voice was steady. "Do you have a better idea?" More silence. Then Ward laughed. It was not a happy sound. "No, ma'am, I do not." "Then you have your orders." "Copy that, Colonel. It has been an honor serving with you." "The honor was mine, Captain. Make it count." The channel closed. In orbit, Ward looked at his bridge crew. 11 people, all of them had heard the conversation. All of them understood what was about to happen. "Anyone who wants to take an escape pod has 5 minutes," he said. "No judgment, no shame." No one moved. "Very well," Ward smiled. "Helm, plot a course directly into the Harvester command ship. Maximum acceleration, all power to forward shields." "Course plotted, sir." "Execute." The Steadfast turned and burned toward the enemy fleet. Harvester ships opened fire. Plasma bolts and missiles slammed into the human vessel. Armor plates peeled away. Sections vented atmosphere. Crew members died at their stations. Ward held his course. On the ground, Hassan watched the sky light up. He knew what that light meant. "They are making their run," he said quietly. Kowalski looked up from the wounded soldier she was treating. "What?" "The Steadfast. They are going for the command ship." "But that means—" "Yes." Kowalski's eyes filled with tears. She had never met Captain Ward or his crew, but they were human. They were dying for strangers. Another wave of Brack appeared, larger than before. This was the final push. The enemy knew the bridge was the key. Hassan stood, his legs shook. His wound had soaked through every bandage. "Squad, listen to me. When this wave hits, I am going to draw them onto the bridge. When they are all on the structure, Tanaka, you will target the support columns." Tanaka understood immediately. "Sergeant, that will collapse the bridge." "Yes." "You will be on it." "Yes." Kowalski grabbed his arm. "No, there has to be another way." Hassan gently removed her hand. "There is no other way. I am dying anyway. This wound took too much. I have maybe an hour left if I sit still. I do not plan to sit still." "Sergeant." "Anna," he used her first name for the first time. "You are ready. You do not believe it yet, but you are. Take care of the squad. Take care of Diego. Get these people home." He walked toward the bridge. Before she could respond, in orbit, the Steadfast was burning. Half the ship was gone. Ward clung to his command chair as everything around him exploded. The Harvester command ship filled his viewport. Massive, armored, the heart of the enemy fleet. "All hands," he broadcast on open channels. The Harvesters would hear. He wanted them to hear. "This is Captain Ward of the Earth ship Steadfast. You came here to harvest. Let me show you what happens when you try to harvest what humanity has claimed as protected." The Steadfast slammed into the command ship's core. The explosion lit up half the sky. 2 ships died together in a burst of light that could be seen from the planet's surface. Fleet Master Gravex died without understanding what had gone wrong. On the bridge, Hassan faced the charging Brack. He fired until his rifle clicked empty. Then he drew his pistol. When that emptied, he fought with his knife. When the knife broke, he used his fists. They overwhelmed him eventually, a dozen Brack pinning him down on the bridge deck. He smiled through blood-stained teeth. "Tanaka, now." The heavy weapon roared. The bridge supports shattered. Steel and stone collapsed. Hassan and 40 Brack fell together into the river below. Kowalski screamed. The Brack assault broke. Without their leaders in orbit and without their main attack force, the remaining soldiers panicked. Some fled to their ships, some surrendered, some simply stopped fighting. It was over. Humans and Relani stood together in the sudden silence. The sky above was full of debris from the destroyed ships. The river below was full of the dead. They had won. The cost was terrible. Rain fell on Tessara for the first time since the invasion. The sky wept for the dead. Kowalski sat alone near the ruins of the bridge. She had not moved in hours. She had not slept in days. She kept seeing Hassan smile, kept hearing the bridge collapse, kept feeling the moment when she realized he was gone. Someone approached, Reyes limping on his injured leg but alive. "Anna, the memorial is starting." She did not respond. He sat beside her. "He saved us all, you know that." "I know it does not make it easier." "It never does." They sat in silence for a while, then Kowalski stood. She was still wearing her battle armor. There had been no time to change. There had been no time for anything except counting the dead. The memorial was held in the central square of the capital. Half the buildings around it were rubble. R'hllani and humans gathered together, united in grief and gratitude. Counselor Myra spoke first. Her voice carried across the crowd. Before the humans came, my people believed that violence was always evil. We thought those who fought were lesser beings, primitive and cruel. We were wrong. She paused. Sometimes violence in defense of the innocent is not evil. It is sacred. These humans killed so that we might live. They died so that our children might grow old. We will never forget what they gave us. Colonel Reed spoke next. She stood straight despite her exhaustion. A datapad in her hand listed every human who had fallen. 37 soldiers gave their lives on the ground. Captain Lucas Ward and 83 crew members died aboard the Steadfast. Sergeant First Class Omar Hassan fell defending the bridge. Her voice cracked slightly. She steadied it. They came here knowing they might not return. They fought anyway. They are the best of us. A R'hllani child placed a flower at the base of the memorial stone. Then another. Soon hundreds of R'hllani were adding flowers until the stone was buried in color. After the ceremony, Myra found Reed standing alone. "Colonel, I must ask you something." "Go ahead." "Why did you come, really? We are not your allies. We have nothing to offer you. Your soldiers died for strangers." Reed was quiet for a moment. Then she reached into her pocket and pulled out an old photograph. A woman with dark eyes and gray hair, smiling at the camera. "My grandmother," Reed said. "She survived a genocide on Earth. Her entire village was destroyed. The world knew what was happening and did nothing. She spent the rest of her life asking why no one came." Reed put the photograph away. "I joined the military because I promised myself that when I could do something, I would be the help that never came for her." Myra's eyes filled with tears. "I am sorry for her suffering." She would have been proud of today. She would have said this is what humans should be, protectors, not conquerors. The Galactic Assembly ships arrived 3 days later, too late to help, just in time to witness. Reed met their representatives in the Capitol Square. She was polite, she was professional, and then she said something that would spread across the galaxy. "You promised to protect the R'hllani. You failed. Earth will remember which species answered the call and which did not. The next time someone needs help, they will know who to ask." The Assembly representatives shifted uncomfortably. They had seen what humans could do. They understood the warning. Later that day, Kowalski received new orders. She had been promoted to sergeant, Hassan's position. "I am not ready," she told Reed. "No one ever is, but you will learn. Hassan saw something in you, do not waste it." Kowalski walked through the settlement they had first saved. Reconstruction had already begun. R'hllani worked alongside humans to clear rubble and rebuild homes. Children ran toward her, laughing. They had learned more human words. "Friend, friend." She knelt to their level. Their small hands touched her armor, curious and unafraid. "If anyone ever hurts you again," she told them, "humans will come. Maybe not me, maybe not these soldiers, but someone. We will always answer the call." A little girl pressed something into her hand. A small stone, smooth and pink. "For you," the child said, "for keeping us safe." Kowalski closed her fist around the stone. She would carry it forever. That night she stood on a hill outside the city and looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, other species were suffering. Other worlds were crying for help. Other innocent people were waiting for someone to answer. Earth was listening. And next time they would come faster. She touched her helmet communicator. "This is Sergeant Anna Kowalski, 47th Drop Infantry, ready for next deployment." The stars waited. So did she.